On this date, Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan spoke to the press in Palm Beach, Florida, during the NFL owners' meetings. They brought up relevant information about the quarterback position, the acquisition of DK Metcalf, and other members of the Pittsburgh Steelers team for the 2025 season. Now, I share some reflections on these interviews and their interactions with the media. Before we dive in, it is important to clarify a few things. We are in a favorable position compared to the Ravens and Bengals, who are several hundred subscribers behind us. However, at this moment, we are only 9 subscribers behind Brown's report, considering the total subscribers gained this month. The month has been productive, especially with news surrounding Aaron Rodgers and movements in free agency. The support from our followers has been wonderful, and new viewers are always welcome to subscribe and help us surpass this milestone. So far, we have not faced losses in inter-division subscriber battles, and the Browns Report fan base is determined to prevent us from reaching them. It is expected that they will gain about 30 new subscribers during today's show, so we need to act quickly to win this month of March. Now, let's move on to my thoughts, starting with the possibility of Rodgers signing soon. He has been training with DK Metcalf in Los Angeles, sharing videos on social media, and interacting with other players. Additionally, it seems that Tomlin is aware of Aaron Rodgers' timeline and believes he might decide to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, as mentioned by Tomlin about Rodgers' situation in Palm Beach this week. Aaron spent the day with us, and while as a common practice, it certainly gives the impression that Tomlin has information on Rodgers' schedule and is optimistic about his decision to join the team. When asked if Rodgers had given him a prediction, Tomlin replied that they had some conversations but prefer to keep it between them, smiling broadly. This suggests that Rodgers has a timeline in mind and will make a decision when he feels comfortable choosing the Steelers. It is unclear whether this will happen in 10 minutes, 10 days, or 10 weeks, but regardless of the timeline, the Steelers seem confident. According to recent reports, the Steelers appear to have some sort of informal guarantee that Rodgers will eventually become the starting quarterback. I won't focus only on Rodgers and DK, as a full video analyzing the training and other activities in Los Angeles has already been published. For those interested in my thoughts on this, the video on Rodgers was made available earlier. Now, regarding Omar Khan and his statement about the quarterback plan, he mentioned that we always begin training with 4 quarterbacks, and currently, we have 2 under contract, keeping all options open, whether through free agency, trade, or the draft. Khan basically indicated that the team will definitely add a veteran quarterback before training, and it looks like that player will be Aaron Rodgers. However, if they can't secure him, they will likely pursue another veteran quarterback. The team is considering different alternatives to bring in an experienced quarterback before training starts, including the possibility of a trade or draft. There is high anticipation surrounding the selection of Aaron Rodgers as the target quarterback. However, if they fail to secure Rodgers, they are likely to look for another experienced player, such as Ryan Tannehill or even Kirk Cousins, who is mentioned as a potential option should they not finalize a deal with Rodgers. While this situation seems unlikely, there's an expectation that Rodgers will sign a new contract soon. If Rodgers is not the choice, the names to watch are Kirk Cousins as the main alternative and Ryan Tannehill as a secondary option. In a recent press conference, it was emphasized that the team is looking for a long-term solution at the quarterback position, aware of the importance of securing someone for the future, whether this year or next. It was stated that finding this long-term solution is essential and may materialize soon. But in the meantime, the focus remains on competing for a championship this season and in 2025. When discussing the topic, there was a belief that the team has the necessary potential to win a Super Bowl, which justifies investing in more experienced players, including the current interest in Aaron Rodgers, who is 41 years old. There is confidence that they, especially Rodgers, can help win a championship quickly, while also planning for a Super Bowl with a veteran quarterback. However, it is recognized that it is crucial to find a long-term solution for the quarterback position when this player retires, shifting the team's focus to a more sustainable situation. Regarding the long-term solution, Jalen Milroe is a name that has been widely discussed in the media, even though it was not mentioned in a recent conversation. When thinking about the future, Milroe often comes up in discussions, but he was not brought up in a recent interview. The coach spoke about quarterbacks he had the chance to get to know throughout the year, mentioning visits to prestigious institutions. Although Alabama wasn't mentioned, there was mention of meetings with several players in Indianapolis and participation in pro days. The coach expressed optimism about the group, highlighting both the tangible and intangible skills of the players they are familiar with. Milroe's absence in these mentions could suggest a strategy by the team to deflect media attention, allowing them to focus on other players while their true intentions remain hidden. By referring to Texas, Notre Dame, and Ohio State, but not Alabama, there could be a specific reason for omitting Milroe, preventing the public perception from focusing on one player. The media tends to create narratives, and by mentioning Texas, Notre Dame, and Ohio State, but not Alabama, it seems there is an intention to omit a player, possibly to prevent the public from interpreting that the team is genuinely interested in him, particularly regarding their primary priorities for this year's draft. Analysis suggests that the team's chances of selecting this player in the first round are slim, especially if they decide to sign a renowned athlete. It is essential to focus on other team needs, such as running back and defensive tackle positions. Choosing a quarterback in the first round doesn't seem logical, especially with an experienced player already on the roster. Therefore, it would be interesting to discuss the probability, in percentage terms, of selecting a quarterback in the first round this year. I wouldn't say this possibility is entirely out of the question, but it is relatively small. Imagine a scale from 0 to 100 for this probability, which will be the central topic of our discussion today. In a few moments, there will be a break, so take this time to reflect on the question and give a number between 0 and 100. One point I noticed in the media coverage this week is the expectation that a particular player will have a significant impact on the offense, not only because of his presence, but also due to the influence he will have on other receivers. The importance of this player's skills was emphasized, noting that for defensive strategists, the value of such an athlete cannot be underestimated. The plays he makes and the schemes he can influence are crucial. Facing him changes how defensive matchups are set. Next, we have another issue where the plans for the offensive line seem to be taking shape, reflecting exactly what was previously discussed. This is what the coach said about the offensive line. Acquiring talent is just one aspect. Developing that talent is the next step. We've been working hard to bring promising young players into this position over the past few years. These players have shown their skills, and I'm excited about the prospects of moving forward with this group, both individually and collectively, aware of the growth that has already occurred and will continue. Therefore, it is a time of celebration, as it was reiterated that if anyone expects new acquisitions or trades to strengthen the offensive line, they may be disappointed. A substantial investment has been made in a young athlete for the left tackle position, and he has not yet had the opportunity to shine in this role. That opportunity will be given soon. Another player selected last year faced injuries, and his position will not be filled. An athlete who is highly regarded from a local university has always been planned to occupy the right guard position this season. And, evidently, there are other players who leave no doubts about their potential. Thus, the formation of the 5 starting offensive linemen is set. A significant investment has been made in this group. The next step, as previously discussed, is the development of these athletes. The young players need to prove their worth and show that the investment was worthwhile. I believe they will have the chance to do this with the continuation of the coaching staff. However, this opportunity may be somewhat reduced, but it is undeniable that the selected athletes, especially those chosen in the first round, possess a high level of potential in their performance. Additionally, another player selected in the last draft was classified as a third-round pick due to his impressive physical potential. There is no doubt that the players chosen in the first round have an impressive history and high expectations regarding their performance on the field. One player stood out last year, receiving a third-round grade due to his remarkable physical potential. After a full off-season, there's a possibility that he will become a legitimate starter in this league. Therefore, it will be interesting to observe how the offensive line develops. There are valid reasons to feel optimistic about this group, but it's understandable that some fans might be skeptical about their ability to evolve in 2025 after years of expectations and disappointments. Opinions on whether this offensive line will perform better in 2025 than last year are welcome, and my personal belief is that there will be progress. It's expected that one player will feel more comfortable playing as left tackle, while another will benefit from a full offseason of training in the right guard position, unlike the rushed offseason he had when recruited by this team. Moreover, if the health of a third player remains stable, it is believed that this trio will be able to lead the group to long-term success. Another important aspect is the possibility of changing the way a traditional nose tackle is used. This new approach is influenced by what was said about the versatility of an athlete who was brought into the team due to his ability to adapt, especially considering the modern dynamics of the game, where there is less emphasis on playing a true nose tackle due to several offensive formations. The team uses about 80% of the time in sub-package schemes, prioritizing nickel or dime formations. The versatility of this player is a valuable asset, allowing for adjustments based on the offensive options on the field. The consideration of who will be present or absent on the offensive line leads to a new perspective on this position, especially since the team has used more base 3 to 4 formations than any other team in the league. In these formations, 2 outside linebackers are usually lined up with 3 interior linemen distributed between the nose, technique 3, and technique 5 positions. Currently, in the conventional 3 to 4 formation, one would occupy the nose position, another in technique 3, and a third in technique 5. However, with the growing adoption of sub-packages and the team starting to adjust, we see more 4-player line formations. In this context, 2 players take the outside positions, as in the standard setup, but there are only 2 interior players maintaining the base, both clearly starters for these roles. Other athletes are also being used, and with the team operating in 4-player formations about 80% of the time, it seems they are comfortable without a conventional nose tackle, as one of the players may take on that role when they return to base formations. When the team switches to a 4-player formation, they rely on their 2 established starters, supported by several athletes who prefer rotation. The expectation is that the team will still pursue a defensive tackle, possibly soon, as one of the more experienced players might not stay in the 4-player formation for long, considering a 2-year timeline ahead. Therefore, it seems they are looking for someone who can contribute both now and in the future, especially in 2 years, when this player might no longer be on the roster. Thus, the expectation is that the team will focus on the defensive tackle position at some point during the upcoming NFL draft, depending only on which round they decide to make the pick. Finally, one of the recently signed players as a defensive tackle had his role clarified by the coach, who shared insights into what the team considers appealing about him. When analyzing this athlete's performance, I reached the conclusion about one of the free agents who was signed to play the defensive tackle role. His role was clearly established, and the approval of his arrival was mentioned by the coach, who commented on the arrival of this new addition to the defensive line. He emphasized that this player really performs well, occupies space appropriately, and identifies running patterns exceptionally. The expectation is that he will become a key contributor in controlling the line of scrimmage, especially on running plays. Essentially, he will meet all the demands of the defensive tackle position. I believe that by using their base 3 or 4-player line formations, it will be possible to position one player as the nose tackle, while the new addition will likely play the technique 5 position, with another player occupying the technique 3 position. Considering this player's ability to neutralize the run, it's clear that this is the reason for his signing. He's not a major disruptor as a pass rusher, but rather a run stopper. Along with the draft pick this year, this defensive line should be quite strong and well-structured for the 2025 season. Since this player was signed, I've said that he came to strengthen the defense, and this confirmation recently came to light. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. A jaw-dropping video surfaced this week, sending fans and analysts into a frenzy. Tyreek Hill, the Miami Dolphins star wide receiver, could be on his way to the Pittsburgh Steelers. While the rumor mill buzzed with speculation, no official announcements have been made, leaving the entire NFL world on edge. Could the fastest man in football be donning black and gold next season? And what does it mean for the Steelers' playoff hopes? Tyreek Hill's resume speaks for itself. An NFL Pro Bowl selection every year of his career, a Super Bowl 54 win with the Kansas City Chiefs, and an NFL 2010s All-Decade Team nod. Last season, he set a franchise record with the Miami Dolphins, racking up 1,799 receiving yards and 13 touchdowns. Known for his electric speed, Hill has remained one of the league's most formidable playmakers, making this potential trade a game-changer for Pittsburgh. The timing couldn't be more intriguing. After a frustrating season where the Dolphins failed to reach the playoffs, Hill voiced his displeasure, sparking rumors of a possible exit. Pittsburgh, in desperate need of a dynamic playmaker to complement their young quarterback, could be the perfect landing spot. But could the Steelers be willing to part with the assets necessary to secure Hill's talents? Fans are eagerly awaiting more details. What are the Steelers offering in return? Could a trade package including key players and draft picks be enough to convince Miami? With rumors intensifying, the Steelers' front office is under increasing pressure to make a bold move. Could this be the turning point for a franchise that's been rebuilding its offensive weapons? As the situation develops, one thing is clear. If the Steelers manage to pull off this trade, it could redefine the team's future. Tyreek Hill in Pittsburgh could spell a new era of high-powered offense in the Steel City, and the NFL will be watching closely as the drama unfolds. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.